system. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are streaming again. We're looking at the game between Leonard Sandler and Daniel Fernandez. I'll start from the beginning. It was a Sicilian where White seemed to have a slight advantage, but Leonard Sandler, in the end, well, you'll see what happened. Round 3 has already started, so we're just going to finish off round 2. As you see, White has a nice little advantage. Here, like we said last time, I didn't quite understand what the objection that White had to the move c4. After c4, Black doesn't have b5. I'm not exactly sure what the idea was. But now, after rook d2, Black gets his bishop into c3, and now it becomes rather difficult. Bishop c1, well, rook d8, and this is a nice a4, b6, and Black happily gives away the e-pawn for the eternal pressure. Now this position looks very nice for White, but the problem is that he has a problem activating his f1 rook. And for example, a good move here for White would be to play h4. And then if Black doesn't play h5, White can play h5, rook h1, rook h4, and once he's got his other rook into the game, he's got good winning chances or ideas. But the backward c-pawn is a problem, so Black had enough for a draw. Let's see what happened. g4 was a mistake. It's just weakening your position and not really helping at all. And there's more interesting games, so we'll play through this one quickly. And Leonard Sandler always snatches a pawn, but he can. And here we go, and now it's not in fact even clear that who is in fact playing for a win. Oh, it is, now it's a draw. As Black, one would be tempted to keep the pawn a little bit longer, because the h-pawn is very, very strong. But I guess Black was just interested in holding the draw and didn't think about playing for a win. Here we go. That was the board 1 game. Let's see, Gene Nagachi got beaten by Stephen Solomon, and we're dying to find out how that happened, because it didn't look like it was going to happen for a long time. So, Gene Nagachi is White, and White's position seemed to be quite good for a long time. This still looks like some kind of theory, and here White decided to sacrifice a pawn, either sacrifice or blunder, we're not exactly sure. And this is the position where we had to break off our analysis, because we couldn't get the transmission, we couldn't get the moves transmitted to the analysis room. And knight b5, that's the move, yes, that I expected. Now b4, now rook d1, threatening b4, fair enough. Bishop e7, b4 anyway. Why not b4, I wonder? What is wrong with the move b4? Okay, the point is that after b4, queen b6, there's still no rook d6. So, now b4, okay. This is tricky, queen b6, knight to d6, okay, swapping off. I don't know if White's going to win the game like this. The rook's not even going to be b6, I don't see where the pressure's supposed to be. And, well, Black, of course, shouldn't be winning this, but Those of us who are acquainted with Stephen Solomon's games, not at all surprised by the outcome of this game. And white's got a pass pawn. Will it be enough? And here's a sacrifice. That can't possibly... Oh! Wow. What a wild and woolly game. And who is playing for a win now? I guess it's... Aleks? And the king goes back. Okay, threatening b8, queen, and king b8, that makes sense. Rook e8. And there's still no pawn to b1. And in fact now we have, okay, we can break off this game. I believe Stephen Solomon's technique is up to it. Now let's see where we last left this game. This is Shrav and Renjit got into problems in this opening. And Sicilian accelerated dragon, which allows the Marozzi bind. And black never seemed to get any activity. The move 98, I'm not a big fan of. And now losing the white squared bishop. And this is where our transmission got broken off, and it was actually very difficult to find a good move for black. Because b5, the problem always with b5 in the Marozzi positions here is at the c6 square. If you don't have your white squared bishop, a knight, something's going to land on c6. And the white squares on the queen side are just too weak. So Shravan played a4, a5. Now I thought queen b5 was a safe move just to keep the positional advantages, but Brodie McClymont, who came in here earlier, had calculated actually. When you're sitting at the board, you, not like playing lightning or commentating, you actually work out, especially whether you can take things, and he figured out that he can. And the c6 square is actually the really big problem. Okay, just a quiet move. Black's encouraging to the attack. Bishop b5, I wonder how well this has all worked out. Oh, and e8 is in a spot of bother. All of white's pieces seem to be filtering in. Ah, black has made a capture. I suspect that that's not going to be terribly helpful. And after queen a8, he does in fact have to resign because he cannot stop rook takes f8 or the back rank problems. Okay. Let's have a look at Wohl against Dusan Stoich. So these two have played quite a lot because Dusan played over in New Zealand at the beginning of this year and may have played Paul Garbett a couple of times and also in other events. Let's have a look at what happened here. Okay. Okay, let's get rid of that. So, yeah, I think I saw this last time from white's perspective. I guess board options could be flipped, but since black won, we'll leave it like this for this game. Black does seem to have gotten control of the middle, but Paul likes to play his King's Indian setups, and he's had great success with them, even as a member of the New Zealand Olympic team. Paul was a very solid 2300 plus player some years ago, but since his chess is not as sharp as it used to be, so it's suffering a little bit. But there is no reason to, one wouldn't think that there'd be a good reason to lose this position. Something, well, he's a pawn down, but something must have gone terribly wrong. Well, Black is making steady progress. And in fact, yes, the A pawn just keeps on marching. Better not get much further. Oh no. Not the unstoppable A pawn. That's what they say about passed pawns, don't they? Passed pawns must be pushed. In fact, we'll flip the board for our next game in advance. And that's Yi Liu against Jade Noi. I would have thought this game would have finished much quicker than it did eventually, because as we'll see, in the opening he had a rather good position. So we have a mainline King's Indian attack, and everything was following theory up to here. Defense, yeah, King's Indian defense, yes. Attack, defense. Now, we've got a stickler here today, ladies and gentlemen, and okay, one thing without deeply analysing this position, one thing that if one has played King's Indian attacks or defences or anything in the past, the importance of the white squared bishop cannot possibly be overestimated. In fact, very, very often, Black will sacrifice this rook rather than give up the bishop, because the whole idea of this particular Mar del Plata variation, is that what it's called, Henry, when they play f4 and g5? I think it's a Mar del Plata. Well, it would make sense because Nadov played it a lot, I guess. They're from, that's Mar del Plata is in Argentina. The Sea of Silver, translated, Mar del Plata. Plata is silver. So g4, h5, h4. Black's idea is always connected with often g4, g3. And white answers with h3, and very often the bishop gets sacked into h3, and if you don't have the white squared bishop, there is nothing that's coming through there. Nothing on earth will get through the white pawns on h3, g2 and f3. So whenever you're playing a King's Indian, you must at all costs preserve this bishop. So anyway, so this is a terrible strategic mistake, after which I think white is just much better, because the kingside attack, Black, without this white squared bishop, Black has no kingside attack, and in fact every exchange just makes white's life easier. And Yi Liu does not mind the swap of queens, especially in this position, and now we see the white squared bishop gloriously coming to h3, where it cuts through the entire position, and I thought it would be over very quickly here. Bishop f5 and king g2, and this is where we last left it, because we didn't get any more moves for a while. And bishop g7, and now Yi Liu told me that he was looking at bishop e6, but that was just idle speculation. Of course, if you can see that bishop d7 just wins, you play it, but if you have plenty of time on your clock, you might want to see if you have other ways to win. So I think he was just kidding. Okay, jump back for some reason. King h5, bishop e7, and now it's just a pawn. Now the game has lost a lot of its interest. And okay, well obviously because if the g pawn takes, then there's a h pawn which is going to motor up the road. e5, is that necessary? Probably not. Knight d6. Actually, I was wondering in the previous position. Okay, probably not. Okay, now this is the reason why I lose a lot of chess games, because in this position I look at moves like taking on d6, taking twice, sacrificing a piece, and then playing king takes g5 with the idea of king f4 and h4, h5, h6. So I will, this knight will have to come back after king g5 to stop the h-pawn. I don't like its chances. So I don't know, this is just something I'd want to calculate. Knight takes, bishop takes, king g5. And my idea is just now to push the h-pawn. You
get 4 pawns against the
king a7.
Sorry?
King a7.
Well, king e7, okay, h4.
Wouldn't you play king g6 to make sure the king...
No. I want you to go to g7, then I'm going to play e5 and d6. I want you to run to the other end of the field first and then push.
Wait, can you just take an f4 and get 4 pawns to the knight?
Oh, yeah, sure. But after king g5, I can do that after I force your king or your knight to go and run.
Oh, so you get all the activity.
Yeah, first of all, I want one of those two pieces to go for a run. So I don't care which one, either knight or king. I don't know if the knight can actually make it back somehow. But I want one of them to go stopping the queen. And then when it's done that, then I'll take on f4, or I'll play d6 or e5.
It's going to take 4 moves to even influence the h7 square. So it looks a bit sick, doesn't it?
So I'm sort of wondering after knight why...
Go to b5 and d4.
Well, actually, there again, after knight d6, perhaps black will just play g4 immediately. Because he can't play bishop takes and g6. So yeah, by getting overexcited and playing a beautiful sack, after knight d6 the bishop is pinned. So it may have to be... No, okay, I'm going off on a tangent, but...
So why can't you take the bishop instead of the knight?
Well, if I take with the bishop, then after g4 my knight might have difficulties coming back to stop the pawn. Anyway, it's...
No, but your bishop, if you play g4, then bishop can take on f4.
Ye spent a lot of time here calculating, so I'm sure that we won't find any refutation immediately. And in fact, what he's played here looks to be very good, because it does just... Okay, well, that's his point now. If everything gets swapped, then he'll take on g5 and run with his h-pawn, and he won't have to sack a piece for it. So bishop d8, check, and check. Yep, this looks more convincing than sacking a piece. So, because your opponent does not always play your fantasy variation, where he captures on d6. That was my fantasy variation. That works fine. But if he just plays g4, I have to rethink everything. I'm still not sure it doesn't work, but we've got other fish to fry here. Check, and king d6, bishop d8, bishop b6, clearing the queening square. That's not going to do much. Yes, go. I'm afraid that's a bit too optimistic. Okay, so...
Alex, I was asking, all cases the king's in here, so you want to try and swap the light square bishop off for black, if you're white.
Oh, if you're white, if black has pushed f4 from f5 to f4 and he's going for the pawn storm, the thing is that you will always be able to stop the kingside attack with h3. So if you can do things like, for instance, get your knight to c5 and then drop it into e6, like there's a lot of lines where white sacks a pawn by playing knight g5, h6, knight e6, and the light squares is enough compensation because black has to play with bishop takes, pawn takes. Without the light squared bishop, if you've already played f5, f4, all the white squares fall apart. So many positions you calculate, you don't worry, oh no, I'm losing a pawn. As long as you get that white squared bishop, you're going to get a lot of play. So, okay, now let's see what else are we missing. Now we're going to just have a quick look at another few games and then we're going to take a short break. Yeah, okay. So let's wrap up this round. And this is a game between Tom Maguire, and Tony Davis. Very strange game, I must say. Black seemed to be playing very passively at this point. And that's where we left it last time. We weren't sure about which recapture. And in fact, I'd say I'm not sure I would have chosen the queen takes because I always like to have a pawn break. What is the point of having a rook on e8 if you're never going to be threatening e5? Taking back with the knight on d7 and preparing e5 looks like you're at least trying to create some kind of break in the center. And it doesn't lose a pawn, which most of my moves do, so that one would not have. And, okay, it would have also avoided knight a4, yeah. So there's a couple of reasons why I should have taken with the knight. Bishop f3, knight e4, okay, well, it's an idea. Sometimes the right idea is played in the wrong order or in the wrong position. Not saying that this is the case here, not saying it isn't, but, oh, okay. And, well, if you're going to say A, if you're going to take A, nah. No, I don't want to keep taking on e3. I want to give up the eggs and just keep taking stuff. Rook f1. Well, now you can't only sacrifice the exchange. Ah, okay, well. And something to do with clock 00. Anyway, white's a piece up and white might have won. Let's see. This was a boring draw. I don't know if we're really... Okay, we'll click through it quickly for those in the audience who haven't seen this. Let's get this guy gone. G5, so we have a kind of a Benoni, and like we've said, I would recommend to Mr. Martin Post in this position that if he's going to be playing the Benoni, that he learn the theory, because after bishop d3, b5 is the best way to get a position, as you know, yes?
Oh, I know, you showed this to us in class before.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to show Chun.
Oh,
The
okay.
engine was on.
Oh, what do you mean I'm trying to trick Chun? It wasn't that hard. But
The engine was on it, it's like, oh, wait, b5.
ah, okay. I've got to make sure I turn that off when I'm trying to trick Chun. Otherwise, it's quite easy. Okay. So, but black is following the normal procedures in the Benoni. But this is actually an annoying version of it. And black should actually play, is f5 at some stage if he can. Can you play f5 in this position? Maybe not. In fact, now it's annoying. One move later and all of a sudden it's really annoying. But bishop d7, a5, queen b4, rook a3. Threatening rook b3, I guess, c4. Attacks f6 twice. How did this wild game end up a draw? Okay, that's one piece. Takes. Knight takes. Okay. Ah, nice combination by someone. Okay, and black is a pawn up.
Running out of pieces.
Can he... f6, okay. It's kind of... what? Okay, in this position, the first thing I'd want to calculate is, can you allow the king to come in? For instance, king d6, king g5, king c5, king f6, king b4, because you're actually going to be queening first. So actually this is my first instinct here if I was playing 1 minute chess, would be to just go straight for the b pawn. Black in fact played the safe move, f6, yes?
Yeah, we analysed this with Ross and Martin after the game. We couldn't see a way for Black to win it.
Oh, so king d6 doesn't win?
Well, we looked at it for about 10 minutes and we couldn't really find a way to win it because the knight can get really annoying after when king goes c5, knight c2. It's pretty annoying. And then you continue with bishop a4, but then the knight goes to e3 and it's hard to take on b2 because you need to play king b3, then bishop back to b5 to be able to take on b2. By then, h7 and f7 have already fallen.
You've lost a couple of pawns,
Yeah.
yeah? And you don't get to queen one of your own.
No, when we played a quick get-go, we actually won with white. Like pushing
Okay,
on.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm going to take on a5 with the king and then start pushing the a pawn. But, you know, okay. It's an instinct. My instincts often lead to zeros, so... but half the time. So instead of 20 draws, it's 10 wins and 10 losses. So, okay. And...
Is that from the canteen?
so we have a
Okay, just checking.
We have a repetition. Audience is getting hungry, so we're going to, after a couple more games, go on a break. And let's see. In this game, Jason Wang and well, you'll recognise this position, Henry.
Yes, that's preparation for the grammar game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doing it right.
It's funny. We show Jason one thing, and for the next 5 years, it's playing only that, and playing it well. Yeah. So.
His technique's a little bit, might need a bit of work, particularly in the end game. But he's winning, which is good. I was a bit
Yeah.
surprised he's going to win.
And this, this one trick in the game you're referring to, he forgot. He played a3 in this position, encouraging bishop g2, and forgot that knight b3. But since then, he's played knight b3 every time. And in none of the games does black know that you have to take on d2. So before the knight can escape. As soon as white castles, black should take on d2 the second time. But black wants to preserve the 2 bishops. Yay! Keep your 2 bishops. So rook c1, so everything's now according to old-time theory. And nice move. And white's just building up the pressure. Very nicely played. Bishop c6. I think I would have been tempted to at least look at bishop c4. Okay, this probably safely wins. I have to say, I have to commend Jason because he's a lot more practical than I am as a chess player, and in this position I don't know if I could have resisted the lure of bishop c4. Because it threatens, apart from rook c5, if the king, it threatens all kinds of rook moves. And why would you not play bishop c4? Well, because you've worked out that by simplifying you can just get a winning position. So if that is in fact the case, then bishop c6 is the correct move, if it just leads to a forced win.
E6 here?
Sorry?
Does he not miss E6 instead of playing rook D8?
Maybe, but let's see what he's calculated. No, nothing.
Yeah.
So okay. Mind you, this is an overwhelming position.
I thought his plan was to go rook c4, not rook check, but anyway.
Well, white in this position is virtually 2 pawns up, because the 2 pawns hold the 3 pawns and is 2 pawns up on the king side. So a5 good.
Jokes.
Okay, another pass.
Oh, no, sorry, E6 in this position instead of
Yeah.
A5, E6.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, he can't.
Oh, I can't take it.
He can't
therefore,
take it.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Instead of taking it. But I guess it's, again, Jason, can I take that? Yeah, why not? Take it.
He's up on time.
Yeah, wow.
About it.
And I mean, this is amazing. That move I find amazing. Swapping queens, giving the opponent 2 connected pass pawns, but just simply because, oh yeah, why not? Rook c, what? Okay, I don't understand what either one of them is doing now. Okay, well now it's just 2 pawns. It's the safety move. The Jason safety move. Oh, f5 is now interesting, but of course. Oh no, just... Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. So, okay. So, our typical lazy chess. And we saw this one. Okay. And Stuart Holt beat Igor Paevsky. Let's see how that happened. Oh, rook d2. c6, bishop c6, e5. Now we saw it some. Oh, this is that horrible game after bishop d5. Now here, yeah, he played rook d5. Like I thought rook d5 was the only move that offers any chances of holding. But here I thought queen f5 or something. Bishop d3. Well, it develops, but it doesn't really. At this point, you need to pose problems. Queen c7. Okay, that doesn't really pose any problems. b4, bishop, that poses problems. Rook to b8. c4. Okay. Interesting. Attacks a rook. Moves a rook. Can't play bishop b5 check, but e6. Okay, this looks good for white now. Check. Rook takes, queen takes, king takes, pawn takes. And black's raging attack is no longer so raging, and black's got a bit of extra material. White has, sorry. Wow. Check. Oh no. And the horrible king moves. White will play the brilliant rook takes d6, and after king takes d6, the brilliant pawn to b8 equals rook. Just and after the rook takes whatever promotes, then the backward bishop f4 move, creating a skewer. Well, we're nearly to the end of the display games. Jaden live? No, none of these are live. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to take a little break and then come back with the live games from the third round. There's a few people dying to go to the canteen. Okay, thank you very much, and see you in a few minutes.